Hi, it's Dwyer. It's April 1st, 2025. This is not an April Fool's video, although it's going to sound that way, right? GamblersAdvisory.com, a free site. BettingAngle.us, a free site. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. You have a situation in Australia that requires your attention, right? One of the roles that people who talk about boxing online play is that of consumer watchdog, right? Sport vigilante. We want to make sure that the sport treats people properly, that even underdogs get a fair shake. So in Australia, you have Tszyu coming off 2 losses. It's a must-win fight for him. 3 losses in a row, and he might fall out of the upper echelon of the sport. He might be someone that a champion might not want to fight right away until he has rehabilitated his boxing reputation. Now, just to understand, Tszyu is the son of a national icon, a boxing Hall of Famer, Tszyu. Right now, we understand life is complicated, particularly in boxing. Right? The truth is that Costa was not exactly the father of the year. We understand that. But Tszyu is part of a boxing family, an esteemed boxing family in Australia, right? High profile guy. Some of his fans were fans of his father, right? I'm a Jamaican. I can tell you that whenever a Jamaican did something great, this was before Jamaica took over track and field, that person could have run for prime minister, right? In the 70s, if you were Jamaican and you were able to get any medal, I'm not talking about a gold medal, any medal at the Olympics, you were a national hero, right? Folks in the United Kingdom, folks in the United States who, have champions in different weight classes and who overlook a champion need to get into the mindset of most of the world, right? Tszyu, for many, is Tszyu's son. Right? He is exalted. Now let me say this. His opponent's real. His opponent is Joey Spencer. Spencer has a chance in this fight. Right? The odds makers act as if Spencer is a non-entity. Spencer's a real entity. Let's just say there are many on the Joey Spencer side of the ledger. I looked at this line and I thought, they've got to be kidding me. Don't they know who Joey Spencer is? So, 10-round fight, and that's important. Right? In other words, upsets are more likely when it's not a 12-round fight. Right? Just like an underdog has a better chance of winning a best-of-3 series than they do in team sports in winning a best-of-7. Understand, an underdog has a better chance of winning a 10-round fight than they do a 12-round fight. So Joey Spencer and his crew negotiated, and I understand there are different versions of this. Right? But from their perspective, they negotiated a deal where they were going to get 2 international judges among the 3 judges. Right? This is no different than a foreign fighter coming to the United States, saying, oh, gee, I'm going to be fighting, some highly valued fighter like Terrence Crawford. Let me have 2 international judges. right? Just so, I'm not there at the mercy of American judges judging a beloved American fighter. Well, folks, this is boxing, right? Truth in boxing is stranger than fiction. The Joey Spencer group gets to Australia only to learn that this fight involving the son of an Australian icon is set to have 3 Australian judges. They're outraged, even though this is the chance of a lifetime for Joey Spencer. Team Spencer is threatening to pull out of the fight. Now, as if that's not enough drama, you have a local fighter who wants his shot. Michael Zarafa. He's been calling out Tszyu for years, right? Whether or not Zarafa has been training for a fight, he's quietly let people know, look, I'll be your Huckleberry. You need a last-minute replacement against the son of a national icon? Here's my number. Give this brother a call. I've been trying to get this guy in the ring for a long time. If he's having problems getting a dance partner, I'll hop in the ring. I'll do some tap dancing. But I'm also going to beat this man. Right now, that's the boxing story. We're going to keep an eye on it. I haven't seen the contract. Right? As is often the case in life, in the short term, you don't know who's telling the truth. If they promised Spencer 2 international judges, and now they're trying to, at the last minute, slide in 3 Australian judges, shame on them. Right? I want Spencer to get his opportunity at Tszyu. Right? I have my eye on this fight. I'm just a YouTuber, but let's just say, if it later comes out that there's a contract signed by the fighters that called for 2 international judges, yeah, we're going to be talking about that here online. Right? If the fight goes forward, and if I'm Joey Spencer, quite frankly, I would let the fight go forward, even if they're going to rip me off with 3 Australian judges. If the fight goes forward and Spencer wins the fight, except on the judges' scorecards. We all have watched that fight where, you're busy celebrating Lennox Lewis beating Evander Holyfield, then they call the fight a draw. Or you're busy celebrating Pernell Whitaker beating Julio Cesar Chavez, then they call the fight a draw. Right? And understand, the guys who actually won those fights, who got the fight called a draw, they were lucky, because we've all seen the fight where you're looking at a guy and saying, I can't believe this underdog pulled this off. Then they give it to the other guy. Right? Let's face it, those are boxing traditions. If Joey Spencer gets ripped off in this fight, if he decides to take the fight with 3 Australian judges, and if he beats Tszyu, we're going to talk about that here online. So pay close attention to this situation, right? I'm surprised that Team Tszyu, and Tim's a good guy, hasn't said, look, if you feel you need 2 international judges, we'll give it to you. Right? I think Tszyu, part of his mission in the sport is to distinguish himself on his own. He doesn't want to always be known as Costa's son. We understand. He's proud of his father. But I'm just telling you, you're not going to find a group more committed to showing you that they're for real than, let's say, the Barry Bondses, the Ken Griffey Jr.'s of the world. Right? I'm sure Bronny James right now is thinking, look, man, I've got to make an all-star game. right? You know, it's like, love my dad and all, but I've got to stand on my own. Right, so this is a situation that deserves your attention. Let's just say, folks, this is a real fight. Right, Spencer is already going uphill fighting Tszyu in Australia. We all know that. Right, if this fight goes forward with 3 Australian judges, wow, he's going to need something big to win it. This fight deserves your attention. And of course, boxing's littered with a different storyline. Let's say the Spencer crowd says, this is outrageous. We're not going to fight under these conditions. We're pulling out. Then you have Michael Zarafa there. Is Tszyu going to agree to a dangerous opponent on short notice? Tszyu's camp has been geared towards Spencer, who is more of a puncher than Michael Zarafa. Right? Is Tszyu now going to switch over to Zarafa at the last minute? Let me close by saying this. Sometimes Huckleberry types get their comeuppance, don't they? You remember just a few weeks ago, Martin Bakole said, hey, I'll go to Saudi Arabia. You know, hey, sign me up. I'll take on Joe Parker on short notice. Joe Parker's response was, hey, come with it. You know, I'm here. I'm all dressed up with nowhere to go. The champion got sick at the last minute. I'm here in town. You know where to find me. Parker found Bakole in the ring, found his jaw in what, the second round of that fight? Right, so the storylines, folks, are all over the place for this Tszyu Joey Spencer fight. If you saw this in a movie, you might not believe it. Just understand, that movie is nonfiction and it's playing out right now. In my opinion, this is worth a look. In the comment section, I'm sure there's late breaking news. This situation has a lot of parts. If you have newer information, I'm in the US. I'm sure news is hitting Australia before it hits me. Tell us about that information in the comment section of this YouTube video. Thanks for stopping by.